So I've put together 5 P's that can help boost your productivity. I'll go through each one of them backed up by real concepts, reasons and evidence. I wrote about the 5 P's on Medium. Medium is a publishing platform where people can read and write about stories that interest them and then share them with the world. You need a membership to read the story, but I'm here to give you value, so I'll leave a friend link in the description below so you can read my article for free. So let's get started. The first 3 P's of productivity are the ones that you should do, and the last 2 P's are the ones that you shouldn't be. So beginning with the first one, plan. There's a quote by Abraham Lincoln that goes by the following: "If I had 8 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend the first 6 hours of them sharpening my axe." The meaning behind the quote is that you should spend more time in preparation. For practical purposes, you need to plan what you want to do every single day. It seems like an extra task, but it gives you structure and you know what to expect after you finish each goal. A key point that I want to mention is to make each of the tasks bite-sized, realistic and actionable. This is so that you won't get overwhelmed and get stuck, a term called task paralysis, which is a feeling of being stuck in uncertainty, not knowing where to begin. What I mean is, if I set myself a task, for example, learn atrial fibrillation, it's a huge task and I would just keep brushing it off because I just wouldn't know where to begin. There are so many components to it, as there are for many conditions. To list a few, particularly for atrial fibrillation, you need to know the definition, what kinds of people get it, how it will present on the patients, what investigations need to be done for it, what are the management, and so on and so forth. So there are many components to this particular task that I set myself. So an actionable task for this situation would be, okay, let's learn how it will look on an ECG, what are the signs and symptoms that a patient would present with, and perhaps the definition. So it gives me a place to start and it's actionable, it's bite-sized and it makes sense. I won't be overwhelmed and I can just get on with my task if I plan in such a way. So remember, plan your day ahead. After you planned your tasks, you might be thinking, okay, I made a plan, but the list is huge. So here's where the second P of productivity comes in, and that is prioritize. One of my most life-changing lessons came from the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle. It explains that 80% of the output comes from 20% of the input. For productivity, it means that 20% of the effort that you put in will give 80% of the results. Some people, however, would just go through the list from top to bottom. They might get a lot of tasks done, but they'll get little, if not any, results by the end of the day. The truth is, in everyone's list, there's only a few things that will give you the greatest results. So pick the 3 most important tasks in your list and just go through them one by one. Do those 3 things one at a time and don't move until you finish those things off your list. To find your top 3 tasks in your list, you can ask yourselves questions like, what 3 things need to be done today and cannot wait for tomorrow? Or maybe, what 3 things that, if I complete them and do absolutely nothing else, will make me go to bed satisfied by the end of the day? By doing these critical items, you get the most results each and every day. Learning how to prioritize will not only benefit you in terms of productivity, but it will change your life. Next, the third P for productivity is pass, and it can be looked at in 2 different ways. The first way is that you can pass on the things that's not high priority, but that gets covered when you're prioritizing in the second stage. Or the second way you can look at it is you can pass on the things that waste your time. So I'll be focusing on that one. It's not the daily increase, but the daily decrease. Hack away at the essential. Often people try to boost their productivity by adding lots of resources like time management apps, website blockers, calendars, etc. But by making an already inefficient system more efficient will not make you more productive. So start by identifying what wastes your time. For me, the number 1 distraction without doubt is my phone. Some people feel that it's normal to go on your phone for hours and hours, but it can be problematic. I feel that phones are like a distraction factory with all sorts of messages, alerts and notifications. So first of all, it forces us to multitask. So what it does is, if I'm, for example, working and I get a notification, I would then go on my phone and then scroll, and then after I'm done with looking at whatever I need to go through, I'll get back to work, and then another message would pop up, and then I'll go on my phone again, and then I'll just bounce backwards and forwards from work to going on my phone. And this just forces me to multitask, which is just not an efficient way to work. Apart from multitasking, checking your notifications is like a drug. Every time you pick up your phone to check the notification, you get a hit of dopamine, and dopamine is a substance that makes all of us feel good. Eventually our bodies get addicted to this and we start craving it more and more. So me, without having to think half the time, I would just get up my phone and start scrolling through Instagram, for example, because I'm just getting a dopamine hit every time I'm scrolling through. But a simple solution, which might not be simple for those who are on their phone constantly, is just to put it away, just to keep it on silent and put it on do not disturb. So keep your phone away from you, and once you get your work done, you can reward yourself by going on your phone. Now, for the final 2 P's, remember these are the ones that you shouldn't be. So the 4th P is don't be a perfectionist. In summary, it's self-sabotage, so just stop, don't be a perfectionist. So this is what happens when someone's trying to be perfect all the time. You overwork and you're not able to relax until everything gets done. You criticize yourself for even the smallest things, and you set really high expectations for yourself. Next, you think in absolutes, so it's kind of like an all or nothing situation. You would only do the work if you'd get everything done, otherwise you just wouldn't touch it at all. And this is something that I experienced. I wouldn't do any of the tasks if I just wasn't feeling it. I had to put 100% into it, and often I would just find myself brushing it off and just, keeping it to the side and not getting my work done. And then you'd be afraid of trying new things. If you're a perfectionist, it's difficult to try something new because you'd make a mistake, and because of that you just put yourself off from doing it. So don't be a perfectionist. Instead, these are the things that you should be doing to overcome perfectionism. So the first one is commit to your goals, but don't let the failures define you. Next, remove the all or nothing mindset. Allow yourself to do the things incompletely or imperfectly. Finally, celebrate the victories and progress made, because every step taken is a job well done. The trick is to be mindful and make yourself aware that things shouldn't always be perfect. Just getting it done and doing it to a good enough level is okay. So keep this in mind, don't be a perfectionist. Finally, if you guessed what's coming up, you're already a step ahead of me. The final P for productivity is don't procrastinate. Anyone can be susceptible to procrastination. Even Kevin Systrom, the CEO and co-founder for Instagram, even he feels that he would procrastinate sometimes. But he uses a trick that helps him overcome this, and it goes by the following. If you don't want to do something, make a deal with yourself to do at least 5 minutes of it. After 5 minutes, you'll end up doing the whole thing. And I was thinking to myself, how does this work? Surely after I do something for 5 minutes, I can just switch it off and then go and procrastinate again. But that's not what happens. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, a Hungarian-American psychologist, came up with a psychological concept called flow. In a state of flow, we become so immersed in an activity that we forget about our surroundings, making time feel as though it's flying by. Whilst it's rewarding and motivating in itself, flow is more likely to occur during challenging activities. So that's why students work for hours and hours studying each day. That's why writers can write thousands of words without stopping. And that's why gym athletes just tend to work for long hours, working out every single day. Whether they are aware of it or not, they are in a state of flow. And when you enter it, the momentum will propel you forwards and just keep motivating you to keep doing the work that you're doing. So if you're procrastinating, just make a deal with yourself, just for 5 minutes or even just 2 minutes, that you'll do the work, because once you start doing that, it can induce flow and you will complete the task. So there you have it, the 5 P's of productivity. You can check the link in the description to read the blog for free. The main point of this video is to give you a wide perspective on productivity and squeeze more out of your day. What you put into your day, you'll get out. Most people have many hobbies and interests, and they often find themselves giving up one thing for the other. So by being productive, you can not only get what you need to get done, but you can also do what you actually want. So Do the first 3 P's and don't be the last 2. I hope you got value out of this one. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day. See you on the next one.